Hello, Wake Up New Zealand, Carol Sakey speaking. Do you believe in social justice? Do you believe in equality? Because if you do, you're being conned. This is all part of this socialist cultural Marxism of this government, and those actually cohort with the government and collaborate with them. Social justice focuses on just one segment of the population and disregards the interests of everyone else. And nevertheless, everyone has to pay for that and the costs of the decisions made around it. This is state leftist cultist Marxism. Equal treatment of people by the state. Government sometimes call the state, the government, the crown, the government. When they call it the crown, I just think of them isolating them from the problems they're causing everyone. So making distance. The state of cultural Marxism, there's no benefits, just trade-offs. The common good for all, there's no utopia. This is bullshit, and there never will be. There's no equality either, just ideologies to divide and conquer, to give the state, the government, more power over the people. So the dark side of politics, a term that keeps on being pushed on the population of New Zealand, that actually makes mass civil unrest and suffering, anxiety, where it's not necessary, where everyone could be getting on as one people in New Zealand, recognising each of us are individual, we're uniquely individual, and we come with us. Our traditions, our cultures, and there's no reason why we can't all be as one people united. But the only reason not is because of this institutionalised government pushing this social justice equality bullshit. The state pushing social justice by including correcting injustices, imposing arbitrary costs on another innocent person. This is unjustifiable, serving an injustice on innocent people, innocent children. It's happening in schools. So there's no justification for this. You think of it as an entitlement to various types of compensation. That's where you think of social justices too that are being played out. Benefits, entitlements, where there's no incentive to work, gives the state control over people. That's just one example. The problem with the socialist government, they eventually run out of other people's money. It's not their money. It's not them putting their hands in their pockets. It's the taxpayer. It's not the global elite. It's not the elite. It's not the wealthy. It's the taxpayers of New Zealand. Someone has to pay. So those that are productive are being punished. They get punished to serve non-productiveness. Surely the best thing would be to support all small businesses. Small businesses give people who work for them innovation to get on with life and be innovated, creative. And the same thing goes to small farming communities, rural areas, farmers. So this is all about attacking Westernisation, attacking small businesses, attacking farming communities, attacking families, and the list goes on. So Labour and national political parties seem to be looking one and the same, both promoting fear around climate alarmism, both want to hit the rural farming community, and both promote mass migration and toxic agriculture, agribusiness, targeting small businesses, farmers of New Zealand, and promoting large foreign companies to be landowners, forestry owners, farm owners, industrial. And so it goes on. This is socialism on steroids, and I call it degrowth communism. promoting social justice actually requires fatal, radical ideologies. You know, these social justice warriors that value their own ego, their gratification over other people's benefit. They invest in social justice narratives created for themselves, for a vested interest in themselves, to disable the people of New Zealand, developing a tendency to make people feel like victims, helpless, vulnerable, not responsible for their own actions. They've become self-styled rescuers of victims that they have created. The Marxism, class society, oppressor versus oppressed, victim, offender versus victims. Class society, making people feel as if they're in victimhood, and neither wins. The oppressor doesn't win, the oppressed don't win. The victim doesn't win, and the victimizer doesn't win. They are all oppressed by the state. So this promotes defeatism, and that's a mindset, the labelling of victim, offender, oppressor, oppressed. Divide and separate, more power to the state. That's not wellness, and it's not betterment of people in New Zealand. That's not bringing people together. It's causing civil unrest. It's not peace and contentment. It's causing anxiety and pressure on the country. And you have activists that are jumping on that bandwagon to push it even further. So social justice is not a corrective solution for anyone. The cost of it is huge, and it outstrips the benefit of people. So you've got central government, local government, social justice, cultural Marxism throughout. Socialism, Marxism, wokeism. People forced to take sides. They take one side or the other side, or they run away from the battlefield. Moral courage is out the window for most people. So we're talking about public debates. Think what happened at the Posey Parker thing. The intimidation, the aggression. You can see the Marxism there, the cultural Marxism, the harassed, the police looking on. And after I complained to them that I had been assaulted 4 times and had water thrown at me, steel gate thrown at me, my $1,600 phone snatched from me with $600 worth of damage when it was returned by the police. What did the police respond when I said, look, it's them over there, go and arrest them, I will complain, I'll be a complainant in court. What did they say? Oh, well, you can understand they're really passionate about what they believe in. So my response was, and so are murderers, and so are rapists. This is weak pieces of shit. The police are there to serve the government, not us. They're there to serve the Marxists. They're there to serve the out-of-control crowd. It's horrific what is going on in New Zealand. The intimidation of good, law-abiding citizens. Let's look at the Communist Manifesto. Communism abolishes external truth. And they are being abolished, aren't they? It abolishes religion. Well, that's being abolished. Never has it ever been more persecuted than it is now worldwide. So it abolishes morality. Yes, that's true. That's what's happening in the schools. The teaching of sexuality, that is abolishing morality. It abolishes biology. It abolishes science. When children are told they can be any sex they want to be, and there's now legislation that anyone can go and change their sex as many times as they like at birth, death, and marriages, abolishing biology. On the Communist, that says that in the Communist Manifesto. So the Communist Manifesto, communism abolishes external truth, religion. And also Marx penned when he saw a teenager's letter saying, "This heaven I have forfeited. I know it full well. My soul was once true to God. It has now chosen for hell." And that's what Marx wrote. The abolishment of morality. So Marx complained that the path to utopia included the end of religious gatherings, the rewriting of history, yes, that's going on, brainwashing of the uninformed, yes, and shutting down free speech, most definitely. This being the forcible overthrow of social conditions. And that's what the manifesto says. And the followers of Marx's philosophy killed over 100 million people in the 20th century. So Nikolai Bukharin, founder, editor of the Russian Communist newspaper, wrote, "We must take our religion at the top of a bayonet." Stalin, 1929 to 1953, entirely cleansed Russia of all Christian churches. And China's chairman, Mao, wrote, "Keep people stupid." So he didn't want the people to know the truth. This was launched in 1966 during a social education campaign, demanding that every citizen wake up in the morning and they worship Mao, he being the god of the sun, and he determined that himself. So the biggest mass murder in history was perpetrated by Hitler, Stalin, and was outdone by Chairman Zedong Mao. From 1958 to 1962, his Great Leap Forward policy led to the death of 45 million at that stage. And that's when he demanded that new religion, that people actually worshipped him. So I was drawn to an article. All told, 100 million people were murdered through these three tyrannous dictators, Stalin, Mao, and Hitler. So I was drawn to this article written by the New Zealand China Friendship Society, 17th of January 2013. A woven Maori cloak, a feather cloak, is to be returned to New Zealand. It was gifted to Chairman Mao Zedong by the 5th Maori King on the 23rd of April 1957. Now, where is social justice? Where is equality at this time? So the Mao era was the most cruel one of all, and there were 60 million revolutionaries murdered during that time. But the Maori cloak, called a kurawai, traditionally a mantle of prestige, honour, leadership. Ardern wore that to visit the Queen to show her leadership of New Zealand, and Chairman Mao Zedong, that murdered all these millions of people, 60 million people, was also gifted the kurawai, all in the name of leadership, a mantle of prestige and honour. And that was in the 1960s. All in the name of leadership, a mantle of prestige and honour. Do you call this social justice? All horrific injustices that have happened in this world under Marxism, under socialism and communism, and still this state, this government, that actually calls a distance between government, state, and uses the word crown to isolate itself for the being unaccountable. That's what the isolation for, to make them unaccountable, so they're not held responsible. We'll put it on the crown. No, it's this government that is saying, look, we must have social justice and equality. And so did the mass murderers of this world say the same thing. Wake up, New Zealand. There is no equality. There is no social justice. All I see are damn injustices where innocent people are being blamed by state injustices. Wake up.